I often wondered whether business in general, and sales-related business specifically, could be amenable to the gospel. As a 20-something young professional finding success in the business world, I began to feel uneasy about my work. Can I follow God in this position? I wondered. Is this really where He wants me? Search as we might, we won't find a Bible passage that tells us whether our current job is the right one. However, there are helpful texts, such as the two stories of men meeting Jesus for the first time found in Luke 18 and 19. Their responses illustrate what following Jesus actually requires. Luke 19 tells the story of Jesus and Zacchaeus, the tax collector, a detested job if ever there was one. Luke tells us that the crowd is shocked by Jesus' request to stay at Zacchaeus' home. To them, he was a sinner by virtue of his trade. Luke also mentions his wealth in chapter 19 and verse 2. Not only did Zacchaeus have an unpopular career, he was good at it. If anyone could expect to be called out of their job, it would be Zacchaeus, and yet that wasn't the case. Instead, Jesus praises Zacchaeus for his change of heart. Brought face to face with Jesus, Zacchaeus says in Luke 19, verse 8, "Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount." Jesus recognizes Zacchaeus' generosity as a mark of his role in the family of God in verse 9. Today salvation has come to this house because this man too is a son of Abraham. While Christians ought to refuse any work that causes others to stumble, Jesus appears less concerned with the what of our work and more concerned with the how. There are some instances, though, where we must prayerfully consider whether our career hinders our pursuit of Christ. In Luke 18, a rich man of influence comes to Jesus with a question. What must I do to inherit eternal life? He claims he has kept all the commandments. What more could I possibly do? He seems to be asking. Jesus' response, sell all you have, give it to the poor, and follow me. These words hold true for us. Christ must come first. Typically, our jobs are not evil in and of themselves, and we can follow Jesus while working diligently in them, but they can become an idol if we let them, and we are called to rid ourselves of idols. In Ephesians 6, 5-8, Paul advises his readers to work for earthly employers, not only to win their favor, but as slaves of Christ, doing the will of God from your heart. We are to serve wholeheartedly in our work as if we are working for God Himself, but we must be certain that God comes first. We must be careful not to allow our work or income to replace the priority of serving God and loving others. The Bible does not attempt to tell each Christian whether their current job is the right one. And yet, in these two examples, we see that almost any job can be where we are supposed to be, as long as we follow Christ in them, refusing to make our career an idol. If we find we cannot follow God without leaving a job, we can trust His Spirit to lead us in His will through prayer for discernment. In most cases, however, God calls us to follow by selflessly devoting ourselves to Him right where we are, as living sacrifices, as joy-filled agents of redemption, and as part of a complete cruciform life. Such a calling can be just as daunting as dropping our nets to follow Him.